Hey there, it's Kelly Donupiro, your favorite industry best friend. Well, I'm here to let you know that you've done something great for your agency by joining and listening in on our podcast or watching our YouTube channel. I just want to remind everybody that we're here to help. So if you need anything, drop a comment, go to our website, hang out with our chat, or just contact us. There's a problem in your agency, I got solutions, right? I like to think of it, you got a problem, I'll solve it. But let's get into the content today so that you can improve your awareness and knowledge of solutions that exist to the agency's core challenges.
So we do need to give a little bit more context or ask for context as to why a client is leaving before we kind of just let them ride the wave and walk out the door.
So why can't we just split that around and then offer to quote their home and explain the benefits of bringing everything in-house?
Going into the idea of clarity is kind, we need to find out, is this due to price, a life change, or service? All right, it's coming to the end. It's the final week of our renewal review launch program. People only have until the end of April to get it at a discounted price. So if you're seeing this too late, you just have to pay full price. Just fair. But we want to talk today about how do we minimize losses? How do we keep that retention high? So I'm going to start with some high level ones, but we're going to break down kind of what to say to a customer that wants to leave. So some of the biggest ones are you have to nurture your customers. So that's drip email marketing, thank you cards. You can't just assume your customers remember you. Most of your clients hopefully are an EFT or pay in full. That means they'd see their carrier name coming out of their bank account. It's very easy to forget you. Another tip we always have is if you sell on price, you have to service on price. Your sales strategy has to be right, selling on coverage. Don't set your service team up for failure later on. It has to be done up front. You also have to keep your metrics. We did a great podcast a few weeks ago about what metrics to look at and the clarity of those metrics. You can't just come in and say, I'm bleeding policies. I'm going to say, from where? How? What is happening? We need to go dive into the depths of that because that's just emotional. That won't solve your problems, right? Is it midterm? Is it BOR? Is it AOR? Is it non-payment? Is it price? Have we remarketed too much, too little? What's the deal? And I also think that we have to be able to share those metrics with the staff. When we come into agencies, we ask a lot of questions like, what's your retention rate? I don't know. Good. Like, okay. How about, do you know why people are leaving? Always price. I give great service. And then you listen to recorded phone calls, you're like, I wouldn't say that was great. So you have to kind of be on top of a lot of things to get there. But the biggest ones are showing the team the numbers, nurturing your customers, selling on value. But that dreaded day where the person calls in to cancel, I think that we have to be prepared for that as well. This is an area I don't think, and I'm curious what Gina and Sarah have to say. I don't think people train on this or role play it out enough. I think people call in, want to cancel. The person's overwhelmed, hears that they saved money, and basically sends them the paperwork and is like, okay, we'll call you next year, maybe if I remember to put the suspense in. So what do you guys think? What do you think normally happens when someone calls to cancel in an agency today?
In my experience, if I could talk today, listening to recorded calls, a lot of times when I would hear cancellation calls, I feel like a lot of representatives were afraid to give pushback or ask questions. So they're like, I want to cancel. Okay, what date do you want this to be effective by? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, why aren't we asking, why are you leaving? What's causing you to want to make this change? Because it could be something that in the independent insurance industry, we have the ability to fix. If we have trained our clients to be reliant on price, we can shop carriers. Let's talk about this together, right? If it is, I'm having problems getting a hold of my sales agent, did we set the expectations that if you have concerns about service and who services your policy, that you'd be reaching out to this individual instead? So we do need to give a little bit more context or ask for context as to why a client is leaving before we kind of just let them ride the wave and walk out the door. It's very important we ask questions.
I like that. What about you, Gina?
I agree with asking more questions and probing further. If you go to the doctor and you're like, I have a cough, I'm going to want them to find out, okay, a little more background, a little more context to diagnose me correctly. Just like if a customer wants to leave and we need to triage and either coach more internally for our staff to ask those harder questions, we're not going to know unless we even begin. So I think that when we're asking these questions, like, why are you leaving? We can even take it a step further and talk to them about, their current policy they have and what else they could add. Maybe they're leaving because they only have their auto with us and whoever they have their home with quoted their auto. So why can't we just split that around and then offer to quote their home and explain the benefits of bringing everything in-house?
That's great. I also think somebody calls in to cancel. We, again, going into the idea of clarity is kind, we need to find out, is this due to price, a life change, or service?
Mhm.
Oddly enough, price is the easier one to solve. Life change, you just need to think creatively. Like, could I still write this? Like, they're selling their home. If they're moving to the and still in the same town, you could still write them. Right? Like, if they're moving to a state you don't have, okay, fair. But service is the hardest one. And we always focus on price, 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 because service is hard to nail down. Service is hard to hold people accountable to. It's very gray area because I bet if the three of us talked about what we want as good service, we'd all have differences. Sarah might be like, I just want to talk on email. And I might say, I want you to email me and then text me and book a time to talk to me that fits in my schedule. And so it can be very relative, but I think we also have to level up our expectations of our service team. Sarah said it in an earlier podcast, tone, right? How they communicate. And then are they thinking about the customer, or do they think all customers are stupid, can't afford their insurance, don't have enough money, hate insurance, and we just treat them like that? Imagine going to your financial planner and you're struggling to save money and they're like, well, why don't you just save more money? That doesn't help me with my problem. So I think we have to also unpack what's going on. But then once we find out if it's service, it actually needs to go to a manager. It shouldn't go back to a service team member that's going to defend their peer. If it's life change, we need to unpack that. If it's premium, I'm going to throw a little curveball out there. There's nothing that says that if it's personal lines and you're using a rater because you love it, not because you don't want to. And I get it, if you're coastal, you can't, but who was to say I couldn't reshop them right there when I have them on the phone? Now, a big, huge false belief we have in insurance is they bound coverage elsewhere. They already paid, they already signed. Okay, I could still win that back. And then people will look at me square in the face and be like, but they signed and they already paid. I said, sometimes I go to TJ Maxx and I buy a sweater and I take it home and I don't like it and I return it. They could return that policy. And you know what? When I go to TJ Maxx, they don't give me the money right then and there unless I paid cash. If not, it takes like 3 to 5 days to get back on my card, right? You could cancel that policy. And then everybody's face is like, but then they'd have 2 down payments. Yes. That's assuming that people are destitute. And that they couldn't take a couple $100 that they would be getting back again. They don't have to burn it. They'd be getting back again over there. And it's like I'm explaining like a Greek myth to them. So I do think we have to fight for our clients. I think we have to fight for them to get what they need. I think we have to fight to keep those clients. But even if you can't win it, I think a really important factor is I want to feel like somebody cares about me on the way out, like they're fighting for me. And then if I don't like where I'm at, I can come back. But if I don't feel like you cared about me on the way out, am I coming back? No, I'm going to go find somebody else that's going to actually respect me, treat me the way I should. So I think when we think really about how we minimize losses, it starts with some passion and some fight to keep our customers, right? What are some other strategies you guys like? Is there any other tips we can give our viewers right now as far as how to fight for those cancellations?
I think approaching it too when you speak with customers that you can relate to them also. I mean, all of us have insurance and we understand the importance because we carry it and we know what it's like to see a rate increase. We know what it's like to have bad service. So putting yourself in their shoes and then tailoring your conversation around that will be huge.
I like that. I like that a lot. How about you, Sarah? Any final parting tips for our peeps?
I think definitely not shying away from training. I think a lot of times when we have new reps that may be a little bit shy to overcome those cancellation questions or concerns, if they're not sitting with other people who are handling cancellations absolutely flawlessly or excellently, then they have nowhere to pull that from. And I know we offer training here as well. So if you don't have
You
somebody
do?
knocking those cancellations out of the park, then they can definitely come hang out with us. We have the agency school. They can come join me for live virtual training, or they could work with Gina so you could start getting those processes in place. But it is a training game where it's like we can't have an expectation of, oh, we're just going to know how to handle these cancellations. And, we listen to these recorded calls, and that's not the case. So definitely investing in your team so that they can knock it out of the park.
I love it. So guys, our biggest opportunity here is to ensure that we are focused on saving those cancellations. And that's part of our training that we give everybody. So Sarah did such a great job explaining all the different ways you could work with us on different training methodologies. But, you got to pay attention to retention. That's what we like to say. And it can be innocuous. It can be a beast. It can be hard because what Gina said in a previous podcast, you look at the reports and it's remarkets. I'm going to tell you this, when you democratize your data and you get it into the hands of everybody, they'll start going, but that's a remarket. That's not a cancellation. I go, the system thinks it is what it is because you didn't follow the procedure. You need to make sure you're organizing around this. Your book of business is where you get paid. Your new business is where you grow. So if you want your asset to dwindle, you won't focus on retention. If you want your agency to be strong and healthy and sell for $1 bajillion to private equity someday, you're going to want to focus on your retention. Fair? All right. So everybody, don't leave us just yet. Go to our website, learn more about our retention strategies. Again, we've got everything from video content up to full-on in-your-face, in-person assaults by me and Steven. Maybe Gina or Sarah's much nicer. Your call completely. But, there's no reason why you can't just toe dip and at least get the course. It's on sale until the end of this month. And then after that, get paid full price. And nobody wants to do that. I know that for a fact. So get it while you can, get it while it's hot. Thank you, friends, for being a part of our podcast. And next month, we will be focused on how to run a successful insurance agency. So stay tuned for more details. All right. Thank you, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It is so fun giving you guys tips and tricks every single, week out there. Remember, you can find us on social media for updates. You can like or comment on this podcast or video, and we're here for you. And check out our website. There's a ton of tools. We have over 1,000 blogs on our website. We have over 1,000 videos on YouTube. You can search and find answers to your top questions. But also, if you need a little bit more help, you want a best friend that's there cheerleading for you, giving you the guidance that you need, and being there on some of those tough days, let us know. We'd love to meet your agency and learn if we're a good fit. All right, signing off. Go sell insurance.